On to our first panel of the day. And as the title suggests, we are going to be looking at fans' attention. And quite a topical subject, because really, in a world with seemingly sort of unending sources of stimulus and things trying to grab our attention, capturing the hearts and minds of audiences worldwide is becoming ever more important, but also ever more difficult. So the reality is sports and the entertainment sector really share the same arena at the moment. So the competition for eyes and ears for audiences is fiercer than ever. So in that vein, our first panel are going to be looking to steal your attention for the next 45 minutes, something I think they're well versed in and pretty well trained to do. And they'll be looking to explain their strategies, their insights on how to capture the hearts and minds of their fans. So please give a warm round of applause for your next panel, featuring Maria Jose from La Liga, Benny Bonsu from the IOC, Esteban Gonzalez from FIBA, Yasmin Aki from Premier Paddle, and your host for the panel, Lucas Dorda.
Done? Yeah, okay. So, good morning. I hope you are well. I was very much looking forward to this panel. So, yeah, let's hope we will kick it off in a very good way. So, I'm very much looking forward to speak to all of you guys, because when I was seeing the topic and the participants, I was eager to start. So, first and foremost, thank you very much to Patricio, to Laura, and to the organizers for having us. And obviously, I would like to start easy today, because, no worries, I'm not gonna put you on a spot. Let's start with a very quick way, because obviously you are coming from different parts, different sports, different organizations, so if you can basically briefly introduce yourself and mention briefly, because obviously we are time limited, what is your role, it would be a great start. So,
I'm sitting next to you, makes me very nervous. But I'm Benny Bonsu. I am the director of daily content for the Olympics.com and Olympics channel. My job is responsible for anything that has the 5 rings on. So from written content to long form to short form, anything you see on our platform, I'm responsible for.
Let me see if, hello, yes, this works. Hi everyone, I am Yasmin Aki, and I'm the digital and content lead at Premier Paddle, which is the new global paddle circuit. And I'm in charge of anything that ends up on social media, anything that's visual, and traveling to every tournament for social media production.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Esteban Gonzalez. I'm the digital content manager for 3x3 Basketball at FIBA, and I'm in charge of everything that you can see on our digital platforms, from social media to digital websites to assets, basically everything that is there outside.
Okay, last but not least, I'm Maria Jose. I work at La Liga. I work in the audiovisual department, and what I do is to focus on right holders around the world, so we want to activate the competition with them. Okay, so I'll explain about it.
all right, so there you have it. Very interesting people from very interesting entities. So let's obviously speak about the topic of the day, because we are, yeah, let's be honest, we are saturated with different options, with different possibilities. It's more and more difficult for every single entity to actually fight for the fan in the world of sportainment, which is something I would like to touch upon in the upcoming seconds. So obviously, as you are coming from different entities, as you are coming from different parts, it's good that you have sitting like this, because basically the 3 of you are related more with content. You, Maria Jose, it's more with experience. So, Benny, let's start with you. How is it difficult nowadays, basically, fight for the attention of the fan? If you can basically, no, I mean, I could give you the mic afterwards, so it's good. Obviously, if you can basically resume how difficult it is for you through the content, try to get the attention of the different segments of fans that you are actually looking for.
It is extremely difficult. For me, for us at the IOC or Olympics.com, the positive thing for us is that for many years, we haven't been in competition with other platforms. There's been a lot of, we have a lot of rights holders that have rights to the Olympics. Olympics.com was launched in 2016. And for us, up until the Tokyo Games, it was just covering, official IOC events and some of the IF's events that happens throughout the year. Over the last 3 years, we've taken a real look and restructure how we cover content. For us, it is really, really important that we understand the data, and you touched on data. I spend almost 70% of my time looking at data. What is the behavior of the fans, not only on our platform, but across the different platforms? What are the fans tapping into? What do we need to do? And I guess for us, as we approach Paris, but also over the last 2 years, we've gone from, in 2019, 2020, for having 10,000 people on our platform per month to going to 16.5 per month this year. And as for us, going to Paris is how do we, one, grow the fan base, two, how do we sustain the ones that we do have, and how we're doing it is really using data to advantage, but also becoming part of that community. For us, we are covering over 30 sports. So going to the event is not just about looking at the data and saying, this amount of people come here and they read results, this amount of people reading features, but it's also about becoming part of that sporting community to gain that trust and for them to allow us to do a variation of innovative content that will really tap into, one, the community, but also meeting fans where they're at. If a fan loves fashion or they love music, how do we use sports to get them to become part of our community? So it's looking at the different strategic ways and innovative ways to grow our fans, but also to sustain them. That's the important part, because they can tap in for a minute, but 10 seconds later they're gone if there's no interest. In what can we do to keep them, and how we do it is building those communities and becoming part of it for us at Olympics.com.
Thank you very much. This was a very, very powerful start. You've touched upon many things. I would like to continue afterwards, but obviously I would like to give the floor to the others as well. So, Yasmin, in terms of paddle, not the Olympic sport yet, hopefully. Most probably in the 7 years, 8 years it's gonna be, let's hope. It's a very popular sport, obviously, from your perspective. It's a sport that people love to play. How it is with the viewership? How is it with the people that are following it? So if you can basically enlighten us a little bit, it would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think many of you in the room know about paddle. This isn't something that's quite common outside of Spanish-speaking countries. And when we created Premier Paddle about 18 months ago, we knew this, right? We knew that the loyal fans, the paddle fans, speak Spanish. And we kind of had to flip it on its head. How do we reach other fans? How do we reach potentially new fans, racket sports fans, F1 fans, football fans? The whole gamut of sport fans and beyond, like you said, fashion, music. So what we did was really just broaden our type of content, introduce English as a primary language, despite many of the players speaking Spanish only. Hopefully they'll learn English soon. They're working on it. But also not only through language, but also in the locations where we introduce our tournaments. So in the past 18 months, we've brought paddle to Egypt. We've brought it to Qatar. Of course, we don't forget about the countries where paddle is very popular, Argentina, Spain. But from next year onwards, we're actually going to be tripling our number of tournaments, introducing the sport to even more regions where paddle has really boomed since COVID. And we are also fortunate enough that the players themselves are very approachable. They want the sport to grow. They want to see it in the Olympics, Benny. So all of our data reflects this, right? A rise in interest in countries where paddle is also experiencing that boom, but slowly but surely we'll get there. We're still seeing mainly Spanish speakers, but it's changing. I have hope, and I don't forget about Spain and Argentina, of course. You guys are important. We see you. But yeah.
No, that's very good. Thank you very much. We will obviously touch upon it a little bit later because, again, there are so many touch points I would like to continue. We could basically spend the whole day here, guys, so hopefully you will not need to kick us out from here. But Esteban, in your case, obviously we are going to speak a little bit more about 3-on-3. It would be great because I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with 3-on-3. If you can maybe explain it first, and then obviously maybe continue with the same question, how you are trying to get those different fans on board. That would be perfect start, in my opinion.
Okay, so for people that don't know, 3x3 basically is a sport with 3 players compete against 3 players. Games are 20 minutes long, so it's the perfect product for the new generations because it's really quick to consume. In the 4 hours, you can see up to 8 games, so you get a lot of diversity, you get a lot of different teams, a lot of different actions, so that allows us to create also a perfect digital product for them, tailor-made for them. We also look at the data, what works, what doesn't work, and we don't necessarily think and go behind the basketball fan because we think that we want a new audience, a younger demographic audience that at the end will consume our sport that is quicker, that is you can consume it in less than 20 minutes, you can watch a game and the highlights are less than 3 minutes, and is tailor-made for this new audience. And we look at the demographics and we saw, okay, we have a small percentage of people that like basketball, but also skateboard, BMX, hip hop, breakdancing. So we also try to create content for them that speaks more than basketball, more is about the urban culture. And this is something that we are also trying to replicate in our channels to try to bring that audience that might not be familiar with basketball or maybe doesn't like basketball, but in 3x3 they find a new way to consume basketball, they find a new way to consume a new sport, and also to have a proper lifestyle around 3x3.
Perfect. Once again, all of you were mentioning very important words, be it community, be it the lifestyle, the culture. Those are the things I would like to continue afterwards. But like I told you before we started, Maria Jose, it's not because I want to go always last to you. It's obviously coming from La Liga. I think we have a short video, don't we?
Yeah.
Maybe we could start with that because it would provide an experience to all of you.
A picture is better than 1,000 words, so let's get started, yes?
La Liga Experience Stream starts here.
Okay, so here you have seen the first experience of the season that we have done with Granada against Barcelona. But just for you that are familiar with La Liga experience, in short, this is a once-in-a-life trip to Spain that we offer to our international broadcasters, and the idea is to help them to promote the competition. Also, we want to bring our fans, our global fans, closer to our clubs, our players, our competition. And the idea with this is that we can create a sportainment content, okay? Not only football, but also entertainment about the city in which we are based. We have we focus on the hosting club, and we have interviews with the players of the first team, but we also interview and have challenges with the women's team that we like to give visibility to them as well. We have a meet and greet with legends of the club. We learn everything about this hosting club. And during the same time, during those days of the experience, what we do is to also meet local influencers, or we go to a basketball game. Imagine Betis that they have a basketball game, we can go there, or we go to learn about Pelota Vasca, or about an athlete who is a supporter of that club. So we have a wider understanding of football, but also the city, and we like to mix this idea of football and entertainment, okay? So the key thing here is that when we bring these influencers and we bring these subscribers, are the broadcasters the ones who are deciding who they want to bring, okay? Because for us, if we want to bring an influencer, the broadcaster maybe is not going to use it. So we need to ask and see with them what they think is going to be more valuable for them. Okay, so if also we have a Japanese player, the broadcaster from Japan is going to come to Real Sociedad, for instance. So we try to give something appealing for all of them. So, and we are always evolving. This is for this season. You have seen part of the storytelling at the beginning. This was like a fake streamer setup. So every year we try to renovate it, to go to level up the experiences and have a common thread around the activities that we are running during the whole experience. Okay?
Perfect. All right. We've started already with something that Benny mentioned at the very beginning, which is basically the vicious circle of engagement. How to not only make the people watch us once or follow us from the beginning, but actually make it happen so they will stick with us, they will come back, they will be interested in our content. And there is the magic word, content. We've already heard from Mariel before how and which kind of content are important. So in your case, going back to what you've already said, the importance of culture, the importance of lifestyle, what do you think would be from your point of view, is the most appropriate content that to go with for maybe your main segments? And obviously, considering that we are in the Olympic year, how do you want to maybe provide different sort of content in order to not only engage with those viewers that you already have, but maybe search and find the new ones?
Well, I can't give you all my secrets because one, the lawyer is not in the room, and also my colleague Vincent is, I think, speaking tomorrow, so he'll probably share more as well. It is an Olympic year, and for us, it is really, really important. You know, we don't have one specific content for a specific audience. We have a variety of content for a variety of audiences. For us at Olympics.com, for example, we're doing content in 12 different languages because we want to be able to tap into all the different markets. We have our priority markets that we do focus on, and when we do content, it's not just about the written content in 12 different languages. This include videos, documentaries, series, but also our social platforms. We have it in 12 different languages. For us, you know, the Olympics is a huge event. Again, we're not covering one specific sport, we're covering over 30 specific sports. And what we do, for example, is looking again at the data, looking at a community, but also looking at the audience behavior. What do the audience want? Do they want a straightforward, just an Olympic Games, or do they want to see the introduction of esports, which we did earlier on this year in Singapore? You know, next year, May and June, we've launched the Olympic qualifying series, which is what Esteban touched on the urban culture. So we've got the Olympic qualifying series that bring all the urban sports that will be in Paris together for a qualifying event ahead of Paris, which allows us, one, to tap into that community and create really innovating and fun content for social platforms. But also, earlier on, well, last year, we launched our new, one of our first collaborations with Netflix, where we did a documentary called Redeem Team in partnership, in collaboration, one, to grow our platform, but two, to tap into the audiences of Netflix, which obviously then grows Olympics.com even bigger than what it is. So for us, when it comes to content, we're not focused on one, we're focused on the small bite, you know, the bite-sized content for social platforms that will then drive the audiences to .com, so then we can keep them there. But what we are focused on, especially ahead of Paris, is again building those communities. You know, when it comes to sports, we're not just doing one piece of content on 3x3 and forgetting about it. No, we want to know everything Esteban knows. You know, I'm trying to steal some ideas from him and he won't talk to me about Paris, but I will get something. But we are building those communities by touching into what they're interested in. When it comes to 3x3, they want to know about music that the athletes are talking about. They want to know about behind the scenes, what athletes do before they go on the field of play. Sports is bigger than the field of play, and that's where we're tapping into, and in Paris you see more of that.
All right, thank you. I will definitely try to get to know a little bit more about the behind the scenes that you already mentioned, because like you said, that's something that people are very much interested. Let's continue. Let's continue with basically, obviously, in your case, paddle. In terms of the content, what would be from your point of view, the most appropriate content for your viewers, for your followers? Yeah.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, we're only 18 months old, right? We're still trying, we're like a little baby. We're still trying to figure out what it is exactly that works. Obviously, we have the data to support that, but we have that freedom to test, to trial, and to get it right. And we're kind of still in that phase, you know? We're in that phase where we can do pretty much anything, and the players, they love doing content, so they're pretty much open to doing anything with us, which is really, really fun. It can be activations in whatever city we're in, you know, trying to speak English on camera, French or Arabic, all the kind of silly stuff that also shows the player's personality. So what you see today on our social media platforms is a kind of a mix of education, right? Trying to show the game, what are some of the most amazing points you'll ever see in paddle, but also trying to show the personality of the players and getting fans to know the players directly. So, and we're fortunate enough as well that the players are young, they are social media native, they understand the importance of being on social media, so it flows really well.
Great. That's very, very important. Esteban, do you want to reveal some secrets so Benny is going to be a little bit happier?
No, she has to wait.
In terms of content, what is the most appropriate content for your followers, for your viewers, for your main segments of followers?
Yeah, so here we have a similar approach to the one that Jasmine has. At the end, 3x3 is established product, but at the end is basketball. So on top of all the highlights, we also need to bring our athletes that are professional 3x3 players to the audience so they can know who the players are, try to build a fan base for them as well, try to help them to create content for their accounts and for their channels. So this is one part of our daily work, and something that this year we push even more. Then we also, when we go to some beautiful places like in the Philippines, we go in Japan, so we are also trying to get that local flavor to our channels. For example, let's visit the most famous court in the world that is in the Philippines with a player that could tell the story and all the famous people that play on that court. Also, for example, let's do some tutorials. Some people can try at home how to spin the ball, and we saw that the kind of content also resonated really well with our audience because it's something that everyone would like to do, but they are not able to do. So we're also to try to explain them how to get better in playing 3x3, and yeah, a lot of also behind the scenes, how the players are behaving during the photo session, which kind of interviews are we doing, and show them small sneak peeks of what's coming on long format. Because I think we all speak a lot about as well short format, but we have to remember that long format is still there, that YouTube, Netflix, Prime or wherever, and at the end we also need to create content for people that want to consume things that are not only 20-second length. So we have to keep those in mind and try to balance between long format, short form content, and then try to build it for the audience we have and also the audience we want to reach, because it's not, if we just keep thinking on the audience we have these days, we are not growing. So we also need to think who we want to have in 1 year, how many followers and which demographic we want to have in 2 years, so we can already now start building content for them and try to develop a strategy to get them.
Perfect. No, this is a very, very extensive answer. Thank you very much for that. No worries, Maria Jose. I'm not going to continue with content in your case. I'm more interested in, obviously, as we are living in a world where people are more and more interested in experiences. The whole sport marketing is shifting towards overall experiencing, not just obtaining products or services. It's more about having the experience. So how you are trying to satisfy the needs of your main followers, of your main fans in terms of experience. You already showed us the video. what more you are thinking about.
So
you're trying
yes,
to do.
when it comes to attracting global audiences, apart for the experiences that we have physically here in Spain, what we need to do also is to think outside the box and try to come up with the latest trend, try to have something new. So with the pandemic, we realized that we couldn't do the trips, we couldn't do the experiences. That was our top project and we couldn't do it. So what we did was to offer to our broadcaster an additional competition, which helped them to activate La Liga, talk about La Liga, try to enhance the viewership around certain games, not only El Clásico or Real Madrid or Barcelona games, but also giving information or anecdotes around Betis, is my team, or Villarreal or Espanyol, the Barcelona and other teams, and try to engage with their fans in a funny way, okay? Because we also gave, of course, goodies of La Liga, nice merchandise, and that was the idea. Since then, we have been replacing the name. Now it's called La Liga Epics, because we focus on epic games, epic players, epic clubs, but the key message that we want to convey to our fans and our broadcasters is that they can customize everything. We don't want them to start from scratch. What we do is to prepare a wide variety of assets. The players are the one asking the questions, so we have the video questions with the players featuring that, but we also give them creativities, the right answer, everything in open file so that they can put their local flavor, they can adapt it and see that we don't want to run 11 contests, but we are going to pick these 5 games. We want to replace this. So they need to find a way to make it appealing for the local audiences and yes, also use their talents or the influencers who came to the experience to also have this connection with their fans. Okay, I don't know if I answer more or less there.
Absolutely, no, it's perfect.
But it's also, apart from the experiences, we are trying to activate in different ways.
We will go into the details in a couple of minutes, because the next point I would like to touch upon, it's basically related mainly with the 3 of you. Later I will go back to you with a little bit different shift in the question. But for the 3 of you guys, speaking about content, you already explained it a little bit, what is important for you. But there is one phrase I always like to use, because I've heard it a couple of times, and I've overheard it somewhere. I have no idea who actually said it. But it's very important that obviously content is the king, but distribution is the queen, and she wears the pants. So yeah, you could quote someone. I'm really sorry, I have no idea who said it, but I love it. So going back to this quote, I would like you to maybe go a little bit deeper, because obviously it's like different segments of fans, different types of content, shorter, longer, yeah, how you want to distribute it, which kind of channels are important for you in terms of actually trying to get the message to the actual segment, to those fans that you really need them to watch it.
Okay, I go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, for us, when we have especially long-form content and say, okay, how can we get people to go to our site and try to watch it, let's try to build short formats that then would make them go to the platforms to consume it, short teasers, direct links, and this kind of products. And then also we have to remember that this is what also paid campaigns are for. So if we have really good content, but for example, then we are limited in organic reach, we can always give it the extra boost with paid campaigns to be able to get that content in front of the eyes of the people we want to watch that, and get, after that paid boost, the organic boost of the people that is actually watching it. And I would say the combination between organic and paid allows you to reach the audience you really want to have, and get the content in front of their eyes, and even better, be able to retain them, because at the end is what we want, not that they come, they watch one video, and they spend the day watching our content, and at the end is the subscribe or follow, but at the end is our goal. So we have to build content and the strategies that at the end we are able to get the last click, that is the one that we all want.
The famous infamous last click, isn't it?
Yeah, for us it's similar to Esteban, but for us it's a different level of collaborations and partnerships if we want our content to travel further. You know, and that collaboration and partnerships can come from partnerships with athletes, the athletes that we've created the content about. for them to share it with their community, but also with different partnerships like Netflix, like Amazon, and other platforms that we know that we do not have that audience. And in order for us to have that audience, is creating content that can go onto that platform that can come back, but also paid partnerships. And one of the strategic moves that we have done as part of, as an organization, as IOC, but also on Olympics.com, is for the first time, we've actually covered every single Olympic qualifier that athletes are qualifying to be in Paris. And as I said, we'll have 2 major events, one in May in Shanghai, and then the other in Hungary. And the idea of that is, one, you know, we're bringing urban sports together, but also the influencers and also the stars within those communities will share our content with other communities that then will tap into our platform. And I said this before, we've got to meet the fans where they're at, right? Like Esteban said, these, you know, there was a time where we were all talking about the Gen Z. You know, everything was about Gen Z and what Gen Z wants. What we're forgetting is that Gen Z grows up. And when they grow, we want to retain that audience still. So whether it's short form on our social platform or long form on .com or on Netflix that we've created, we want to retain that. And that comes with collaborations with the normal fan watching at home who likes it and then shares it, to the athletes that the content is about, for them to also share it. It's always looking around and see who is working, you know, with the same objectives that you have and how you can collaborate to grow. For us, paid campaign has been really important for us with the Olympic qualifiers, and it will be even more important for us as we head to Paris as well.
Very important, yeah. You said it, the overall reach outside and try to meet the fans where they at. It's very important because it's complicated to try to convince them to do something or watch something or follow something different. So this is key. Jasmine, do you want to go ahead?
I just want to say we're learning every day, and I think we're fortunate enough to be in a space where we can learn from, you know, IOC, we can learn from FIBA, La Liga, and all these other sport organizations, and trial what works best for the paddle fan. Currently, we're mainly focused on short-form content. We're a lean team, we're small, but we know that audience is there for the long-form content. We engage also with influencers, which there are a lot of paddle influencers. If you're ever on YouTube, it shocked me when I first started working in paddle. There's a lot of paddle influencers, a lot of content, a lot of long-form content. So if we can't do it today, how can I work with influencers, with content creators to make sure that they get the content they need? And in the end, it all, you know, it helps us too, so, and helps the sport most importantly. Yeah.
There are influencers everywhere.
I know, yeah. I don't know why it shocked me, but.
Now this is obviously, I have it on my list, so no worries, we will go through the influencers, we will go through the collaborations, but I would like to continue with you, Maria Jose, a little bit, because obviously in terms of creating and providing the experience globally, how important for you, on one hand, is your local partner that you have all around the world, and then obviously try to bring some sort of local, maybe artists, influencers into the overall experience, because when we met, you mentioned that, for example, within the experience you were organizing, there were people coming from Slovakia, which is my home. So obviously, it's like how important for you it is to work and have a maybe strong bond with the different local partners and try to bring maybe part of some sort of local culture into it, some local artists, entertainers, influencers.
Yeah, thank you. The selection of the guest is key for the success of the experience, for sure. So here we need to focus on each market in how they feel they are gonna make the most of these experiences. So they need to define the best content creator. So for instance, we have had a wide variety of profiles. We have brought here comedians, chefs, freestylers, streamers, gamers, actors, singers, dancers from any country, from many countries. So we have learned a lot, but we also measure the success seeing how not only the broadcaster is sharing this content, but also local media that echo this experience because it's interesting for them, because it's not only football. This happened. imagine that Angola, the broadcaster from Angola, they brought a dancer, and he knew a player from Villarreal. They danced together. People at the stadium, they recognized the influencer. They were asking him for many autographs. We also brought former football players, Valero, and we had a laugh with Joaquin because they share sometimes in the Fiore. That was, this when also the players, they feel more comfortable is when they also meet, they know that maybe Marquito Navaja, or they know some influencers that they like to have this content, these short videos on Instagram, for TikTok, we ask them to have this, and this goes viral. So for us, it's really important, that part, because we search that broadcasters share this content, but also the clubs, the players, even if they want to share that. La Liga, from La Liga, we share everything in different platforms, and then local media. So we need to study and adapt then the agenda to the peculiarities of each country. We need to be aware of the culture, the food restrictions, religions, everything. Many things could happen.
That must be very, very difficult, especially when we are thinking globally. So obviously, that's, thank you very much for the answer. We will go through the influencers right now, so it's basically to the rest of you guys. How FIBA, how Paddle, how Olympic Channel, it's basically, because there is no need to explain the importance of working with influencers, so it's more about the criteria that you are maybe using when searching for different partnerships, for different collaborations. What is important for you guys from your perspective, from perspective of all of you within the organizations you are? Not sure who wants to go first. I will leave it to you. Maybe Esteban, if you want to start and guide us through, or Yasmin.
For Paddle specifically, so I mentioned a lot of influencers, a lot of content creators, and when we first started Premier Paddle, my job was really to understand what the content creators wanted to do, what they couldn't do in the past, and what they want to do now with Premier Paddle and the players. We're still in this getting to know each other phase, but I think what they appreciate the most is that someone's listening to them, someone's giving them the attention, someone's sitting down and brainstorming with them. And you know what? At the next tournament, we'll do something together. We'll get you the player you've been trying to speak to for ages. We'll make that happen. So stay tuned.
I think for us, Olympics.com and Olympics Channel, the influencers are the athletes. The athletes have a global reach. If you have, I don't know if any of you guys follow the FIBA World Cup this summer, amazing, Esteban. But USA don't do well at FIBA, and all of a sudden LeBron James wants to come to Paris because now they have to redeem the name of Team USA. Now, if we get LeBron saying that for us at Olympics.com, that is huge. That article is going to get at least 3 million. So for us, that's the criteria we're looking for, athletes that have influence and impact. But as we are also diverse and becoming more innovative, when we're looking for entertainment influencers or fashion influencers or body art influencers, these are influencers that also have an interest in the sport. But influencers, again, that also have influence and impact, we will check them, make sure there's nothing dodgy that's going to come out about them 2 months from now, to ensure that these are good, clean influencers that can be part of our 5 rings. So for us, we do extensive research on our influencers, but ultimately, the athletes are our influencers, and as athletes are becoming more aware of the power they have and the fact that they can create content, again, it's about collaboration. So if I'm doing a piece of content on LeBron, I'm going to give him that content as well. If he's doing something, we're also supportive of him, so we grow together. That's how we use it for our platform.
Perfect. Is there a Redeem Team new document coming soon?
I can't tell you. You have to wait till Paris. I can't tell you.
So for us, when looking at influencers, I could see 3 different categories. First one, as she said, athletes are the main influencers that we have, because if they don't share our content, then who's going to share what we are doing? Second, I would say local micro influencers that can help you to activate in some concrete markets. They have the audience, they speak to them on a regular basis, so it's really important to identify those that can share the message that we want to share to audience. Like, for example, for us would be someone that likes basketball, but it's also in the sneaker culture that likes to go shopping to basketball clothes, so we can build a story around them, and then those will be to activate local markets, and then I would say as a global influencer to bring awareness to the brand. Like here I can mention the streamers tournament we did with eBay, that is like one of the biggest streamers in the world. We did 2 editions, the numbers were incredible and allow us to first put our product and our rules in an audience that they only can have, explain what we want to do to those influencers, and they could play with the same rules that are being played in the Olympics. So this for us was huge. We had people that we can never reach, but as they have their idols playing, they were looking, they were engaging with the game, they were sharing the content that we were creating for the influencers. So for me, I would put these 3 categories and then look at them on a different way depending on what we want to achieve.
Also, if I can add, when we get those big names as influencers creating content for us, essentially we put it behind a, some would say a paywall, but for us, we're trying to get the acquisition. That's what we want. So if we get in LeBron or Kevin Durant or any of those big names, that content becomes behind a wall. In order for you to access it, you have to sign up. And that's one of the ways in which we're building a community, but also sustaining those audiences, because we know that for them, come Paris, if there is a documentary, if there's something special coming, they have at first glance what is coming up, but also the access that they can then get into an even wider community.
That was a very, very important. Do you want to add something, Maria Jose?
No, about the influencer, the criteria for us is similar to them. What we do is to separate, to differentiate between influencer related with football, with sports, that they can talk about this type of fan base, but we also want to have to reach this lifestyle fans, different profile of people who can be interested in football, but at the beginning maybe they are not really into the game, but then thanks to that person, we can access them. So this is really very important for us. And then micro-influencers, depending on the million or thousands of followers they have, or million of followers. We have brought here even a Bollywood influencer with more than 20 million followers. And in Pamplona, he filmed part of his video clip for, so he loved a lot Pamplona and Osasuna, and now Osasuna is well known in India. So this is totally very random, but it's what we love about sport, what we love about football.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, you led us to the point where all of you mentioned the importance of the proper athletes. So the proper athletes often are your main content creators, often are obviously the stars of the day. So how easy or how difficult do you find to perhaps go a little bit 1 or 2 steps further and provide maybe some behind the closed doors, some personal journeys of the proper athletes in order to use it for a content creation? Do you think it's, and if you think it's actually important to go this way? Again, it's an open question, so feel free to start whoever wants to, if you want to lead us.
I think it's important. I think it's important that as sports entities or media platforms, it is important that we humanize these athletes. And for us at Olympics.com, it's something that we care about deeply. Doing those extended features, whether it's documentaries, mental health has become a huge topic for athletes. How do we make the person sitting at home tweeting rubbish online understand that their favorite athlete, this is what they have to go through to get to where they are? It is important, and for us, as we head to Paris, it is really important that we're going to be doing more of that. I'm sure you have somebody from our team, from the Athletes 365, who talk more. I think Olga will talk more about this. But showing behind the scenes is important because we want to humanize those athletes.
Yeah, likewise. And I think a big part of our jobs in digital social media is also knowing those random facts about players. What happened to that player last week? Where did he go on vacation? All of these points of information are really relevant to our jobs at the end of the day. And for paddle specifically, a lot of players have told their story in Spanish, and our job is to make it global, make these players superstars essentially.
Yeah, it's similar approach at the end. We have to build the stars. We have to tell the stories of the players so people can engage with them, can follow them, and grow the sport. And it's also part of our job to provide them with content that they can reuse during, after, and before events to also amplify our stories or our message. So yeah, that's it. For me, they are #1 influencers that we can have, and we have to keep that in mind when creating content, when planning content, and when distributing the content.
For me, talking about football, you know, players of the first team are not always so accessible. It's tough, especially for the clubs that they receive many requests from many media, broadcasters, sponsors. So we need also to try to take care of the content that we ask. But instead of having the formal interviews around the game, the upcoming game, what we like to is to have this fun with them. We try to come up with a TikTok challenge, something that they can, you know, challenge the other player because they want to win. They are really competitive. So something that they can be fun or talk about something that people don't know. Also, imagine now we are gonna bring Diletta. I don't know if you know, she's a presenter from Italy, and we are gonna do a documentary during her time in Seville. Instead of just focusing on football, everything behind La Liga, everything behind the Sevilla Derby, the Grand Derby. So we are gonna also give more content about that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for mentioning especially the importance of humanizing them, because often we see them like someone that is so far, far, far away from us. It's unreachable. So obviously showing maybe the human side of all of the different athletes from different sports, has a massive importance. I think we are running slowly out of the time. So let me just ask one last final question, which again, it's gonna be a little bit, maybe I promised you I'm not going to put you on a spot, but maybe this is the one where you will be in a little bit more complicated situation. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm terrible liar actually. What I want to ask is, I know that it's difficult to predict the future, which nobody has a crystal ball, nobody understands what's going on. But I didn't want to go the way and make the whole panel about the importance of data, because that's obvious. All of you are looking at the data. All of you are trying to get as much information as possible. So if you may, or if you want, to go maybe a little bit further and try to provide your opinion, how would be the overall evolution of the overall fan within the sports industry in the upcoming months, years? I know it's very difficult. I know it's a tough question, so that's the reason why, like I said, I'm putting you on a spot a little bit. But based on the overall analysis of your segments, of your fans, of your followers, where do you see their evolution in the upcoming months in terms of what they would be interested to receive from you, particularly in the near future? Like I said, it's a tough question.
Okay, so I see two different things. One is purely content-wise, that I think we're starting to see a lot of crazy things with augmented reality, virtual reality, and I think on the consumption, we will slowly moving there. While then for the engagement and conversations, I think people now are going back to the basics. It's WhatsApp groups, it's DMs, it's Facebook groups. So we also have to keep that in mind, that even if people are not actively talking in our channels, they are doing it on DMs. Actually, even the head of Instagram said that now stories and DMs are the two biggest things about Instagram. So we had to put our teams just more resources on that, because it's where growing is these days. And this also allow us to think, okay, how can we create content that people would like to share, and take the Instagram stories just as a different platform. Let's create content that people will share from stories, and they will take them to private conversations. I think those two are where we are going to, as private conversations, and then when video and consumption, we are seeing a revolution. So I think VR and augmented reality are gonna be the next big thing, but you never know.
I love the back to the basics part.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think even though we're getting innovative, the growth of AI, I still think data will be king as we grow. But I also think we shouldn't lose sight of the traditional way in which we consume media. I think audiences will have even more say on what they want to see as we move forward. As we're in sports, athletes will also become and take more power over what we put out about them as well.
Thank you very much.
That is something that we haven't mentioned before. It's like in La Liga, we have launched La Liga Land, and this is like the metaverse. So now we have football in the metaverse. It's a virtual world, so also we are trying to reach a different type of fan, try to engage with those younger generations, and they can play mini games. We can engage with them in this virtual world. For me, I can't comprehend this. It's like it's way too much for me. I'm getting older, but we have also different apps, games with La Liga Fantasy. Many people may know, but La Liga Clash and La Liga Head Football and different ways, not only social media, which is basic, of course, but go beyond that.
Yep. All right, so I think the time is up. Nope.
No, I'm learning.
All right, guys, thank you very much for bearing with us for the 45 minutes.
Thank you. Sorry to take you off.